Let's move on to some other news today, because Water and Sanitation Minister Senzo Mchunu says that outages will be affecting South Africans until 2027. That's according to reports out today. Residents in some parts of the country have been struggling with shortages for some time, though. Other regions in Gauteng have been experiencing supply reductions. Let's speak about this with the Water and Sanitation Minister himself, Senzo Mchunu, joining us now. Minister, very good afternoon to you. Thankful for your time today. So 2027, I understand, is the date that you said we may begin to see a normalization of the water situation. Why will it take as long as 5 years to sort out?
Well, you remember that an additional issue there is that I only came into the department last year on the 5th of August. But there is nothing to do much with somebody who has been waiting for water all the time that you're talking about. I'm just adding a point. The reality of the matter is that there are different categories of people in South Africa. There are those who have never had water since 1994. There are those who have had water at different levels. Some have had, and others, at an occasion or in a period. And then after that, no water. But what is it that we're doing at the moment? We are intervening with municipalities because municipalities are, by legislation, the ones that are responsible for reticulation, that is bringing water to people. It is called the water services management. But we've realized that with the decline of municipalities, they themselves saying they don't have capacity, they themselves saying we have old infrastructure which is not functional, or even where we have relatively new but infrastructure, but it's no longer adequately catering for the people. Now, the main issue is that for some time, our department, together with water boards, they have not been focusing on reticulation because of the reason that I'm citing. But when we came, we changed, and we're busy changing this setup, that the department must be interested in the whole value chain from the dam or river up to when water gets into a home or a residence. The same applies to the water boards. And we think that is paying off because we're now able to get into municipalities, find out what their problems are. Some where already there's a problem, but others, we intervene in municipalities that don't have where people have not necessarily started demonstrating or what, but we're intervening. We're into more than 30 municipalities now, and we're adding more because of what we study and look at and see. But we start with municipalities. So what's the turnaround overall? The turnaround is that Department of Water and Sanitation, together with water boards, we are getting closer to working with municipalities to make up for the gaps and the weaknesses that we are able to see, work past them and deliver water to people. And I have an example, for instance, day before yesterday, due to some problems or difficulties in Gauteng metros, particularly Johannesburg and Tshwane, we had a very good meeting with them. We discussed matters. We isolated the urgent issues that need to be dealt with. We were then able to set up a water room, and we're working on it. They have met twice already, and therefore we are resolving whatever problem there may be there. Right. That's what we're doing throughout the Republic.
If I may come in there, Minister, just on what you're referencing around Gauteng, often in this country, the problem is that when situations such as the water problems occur, there's the establishment of an emergency, shall we say, quote-unquote, war room in order to respond, right? But the experts in this space say the problems around water provision and infrastructure problems in particular should have been long foreseen. Why was there a failure to plan ahead?
The main problem for that failure is that the responsible municipalities themselves have not taken, over time, have not taken this matter seriously, that we've got a budget, we've got to have people who are competent, to do O&M, that is operation and management and maintenance of our infrastructure, including reflecting when we see that we're losing a pipe or we're losing any plant due to age and dysfunctionality. But now things are changing. We are intervening. We are also working with them. I know in the Gauteng metros, for instance, there was a study that was done and concluded in 2017, in terms of which infrastructure would be a focus. But there hasn't been any uniformity and effective way of following up to that in terms of ruptures and in terms of pipes that we're about to lose, so that we are proactive in the way we do things. But we are not wasting time dealing with all problems, as it were. We are getting to the ground and really doing the job. And the water is going to have that on the agenda as well, resuscitating that program in the metros of Johannesburg, because in the main they are also losing water to the ground via leaks and also via other aspects of non-revenue water, like people who are drawing water illegally and all of that. These are the things that higher levels of management of water and sanitation in all municipalities is now required, so that we are able to find our way through all these things. So there is a higher level in terms of consciousness on infrastructure, because even if we bring more water to a municipality that is in need of water, if we're going to lose half of that, it's not going to work.
Right.
But as to why there hasn't been focus on this matter is a different matter. Now there's focus.
It was a failure of leadership, was it not, sir? It was a failure of leadership by people, some would say, including some of your predecessors in the ministerial position.
All I will say to you is that I know that we could have done better at the level of municipalities, even at the level of ministry and department. It didn't take us long to realize that department can't sit aside and just watch from a distance and say, we only deal with bulk water, we only deal with dams and rivers, we only deal with those high level issues, and relegate the issues of bringing water to actual households to municipalities that are less positioned to cope for their own reasons. So I would agree with you indirectly that, look, we could have done better. That I know for sure.
But Minister Mchunu,
and we're now doing better.
What you were saying then, the lack of understanding of those very basic issues to do with the water system, suggests to me that at leadership level, be it in cabinet when it comes to responsibility for water, be it at municipal level, what has happened is either the people who were there were not interested in getting it right, or they were inept, clueless, out of their depths.
Yes, to an extent. Look at us in Gqeberha municipality. We got in there when they were 6 days away from day zero. We are now sitting at more than 400 days out of day zero. And it's no miracle that we've done. We went there, we pointed out the weaknesses of the systems that are in place, functionality and all of those gaps. We ratified, we showed them, we engaged them to say, there's a weakness here and here. Let us sit on this. Let us work on this. Let us correct this. And indeed, it has paid off and it's paying off. Very often when we intervene in municipalities, we do find weaknesses in systems. It's either capacity of or lack of capacity in their personnel and skills related to water and sanitation. In some cases, financial management over time. And these are the things that we get in and turn over and turn around. I can make an example. We are in Machabeng as an example. And what are we doing there? Fixing 52 pumps there and 11 waterworks out of 13, 52 out of 56, and more than 1,500 pipeline of water replacing here and there, and by and large, and renewing and refurbishing. It's something that could have been done over time, over a period, before things get worse. But we are now saying, and we like it that in Machabeng, the mayor there and the municipality and the council are up to the challenge, and they are themselves even improving their management. Right. And these are the things that would have done long ago, and that's why I'm saying it's a case of us getting to understand things where we could have done better even long ago.
And 2027 then, that 5-year deadline, can you today as Minister give a guarantee that when that year rolls round, we will no longer be having the same conversation?
What is your date?
One of the reported dates was that you had said by 2027, the situation as far as water provision should be up to date, back to normal, shall we say?
No, that is quite way too far. I was referring to the phase 2 of Lesotho Highlands Water Project, which we must have finalized and it must be performing by 2027, so that we ensure that there is guaranteed water security or availability of water in Gauteng, as opposed to now. And in Mkomazi, for instance, for Durban and Maritzburg, we must have delivered that project of Mkomazi Dam. But otherwise, by 2027, in terms of water services management, we are into that. We think most of the problems would have overcome. But remember, that is not a question of water not being in the dams. Dams are quite full. The issue is managing water leaving dams and other resources to the people. Right. And that is what we are focusing on. We're not going to wait for 2027. We're on it right now.
So when is the deadline for that then? You said it's much sooner. When will people in Joburg, Pretoria, Tshwane have water coming out of their taps without restrictions, without being told that it's basically being rationed?
Well, you will agree with me that by and large, we don't have unreliability that much in the Gauteng area. It's only now that we have a problem. In other words, Rand Water is doing a very good job, but they themselves are pointing out at a problem of metros not dealing with non-revenue water and therefore losing water, and not maintaining their infrastructure at the level at which is required. And the water room is appointed exactly for that, and we're going to be working with them where we have to replace pipes, where we have to enlarge pipes, where we have to do whatever maintenance, whatever refurbishment. We are going to be working together. And it's only after they have made an assessment that we'll be able to give timeline. And that is attached to, that also has budgets attached to that. And we will have to focus on that. And once we are ready, all of us with them. And what I like is that no metro said, no, this is not true. That is not true. I differ. It was all of us agreeing that we now have to prove and demonstrate that we are up to the task as a water sector.
Minister Senzo Mchunu, good to have your time, so thank you very much.